Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya al mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we're continuing our life coach training program based on our book Positive Islamic Psychology, a transcendent model to achieve peace, happiness and success in the 21st century. And as I mentioned, we are providing this life coach training program free of charge as our da'wah effort to reach out 10,000 Muslimin, Muslimat all over the world so that they can help themselves, their family, the community and so on. Alright, so what we have is basically we are discussing of the challenges in the 21st century of pornography, which is affecting a lot of our young people as early as 8 years old. So when we know that this is going to be a challenge in which with a click of a button they can go into all the filthy website and even abnormal sex website, we have to have a very strong armor against them. And what we need to do is to find the signs. What are the signs that is affecting them? One, if they are increasingly on phone, they are becoming increased isolation from family, friends and spouse and sexual or romantic partner. That means even if they are married, they will not have sex with their wife or their husband because basically they are so involved in this unimaginable world of phonography, because they use a lot of high resolution, they use a lot of animation and so in the end it becomes a world of hyper fantasy. So that is where it becomes so attractive that people will isolate, especially young boys, and especially if they start early, they will start isolating and do it in a very secretive manner. Number two, negative consequences in terms of professional, family, recreational and functioning as a human being. Once you are hooked and becoming an addict, it's just like cocaine addiction, drug addiction, you cannot function in society. You tend to think about all those fantasy world of hyper arousal of sex. So that will become a very severe problem, so you will not be able to succeed in life. Number three, preoccupation with accessing, consuming porn, including secretive behavior, scheduling and strategizing. So you start scheduling even between work. Lunchtime, instead of going to eat, you start looking at porn and so on. So even that you are being affected, your productivity is dropping very low, your boss is giving you a lot of coaching or counseling, still you are so stuck with the addictive behavior because of the rush of dopamine. Each time you open your porn website, it becomes a habit that is very difficult to stop unless inshallah you go for the coaching, mentoring and counseling, in which we are trying to give you some ideas how to go about with it through PIP, Positive Islamic Cognitive Behavior Therapy. You can see in our previous video we have a lot of those approach in our YouTube. Feeling of shame, fear, self-disgust and all being out of control. Just like all addicts, they feel they cannot control, they just have to do it and do it and do it and do it. So basically they feel shameful, they know it is a horrible thing, they know it is a very a filthy thing to do, but it's just that their reward center in terms of their striatum is being controlled through the rush of hormones, especially dopamine, which is affecting them, so that then they are actually behaving in a robotic, habitual way out of scanning this site. Number three, the next one is increasing desire for increasingly explicit phonographic material. First they start with very innocent phonographic material, but now they are very, very horrible, inhuman phonographic material of sex with babies. And these are evil. Alright, not only you talk about unnatural sex with animals, sex with robots, sex with sex toys, but they are even doing this kind of evil thing on other human beings, babies. And this is unimaginable. They are no more human. They are even worse than the pigs, worse than the dogs, worse than all animals. That's why in the Quran Allah tells us about this filthiness. That Allah created a beautiful being of being the Caliph of Allah on this earth. Laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqwin. Fi ahsani taqwin, you're so beautiful. Caliph of Allah, you can achieve the best, achieve wonderful life on this earth. Believing in Allah, achieving peace, happiness and tranquility, but you can regress lower than the worst of the animal. Laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqwin summa radatnahu asfala safilin. So you regress and digress and become so disgusting that you are existing worse than a pig. So this is where we have to be very careful so that this 21st century challenging of pornographic material and all kind of addiction does not affect our young people, so that we can preserve our deen, inshallah, forever and ever. Next one is decreased intimacy and increased objectification of others. So even their husband and wife, because of the excessive porn, they find that their partners are no more attractive, and this is where they cannot have normal sex anymore. Stages of addiction, there are many stages. First is the stage of exposure. So early exposure, all right, sometimes it's very innocent. Some boys, especially when they are in the play area or during recess in school, they just flick open and then they just start seeing, and then you start seeing, and then A starts seeing, and then the group starts seeing, all right, and then they pass from one to friends and so on. So it's just a play thing, but this play thing becomes an addiction. Number 2, addiction. The second stage is addiction. It becomes regular as part of your life. So you put certain amount of time, maybe half an hour, 1 hour a day. All right? Then escalation. Step 3 would be starting to look for more and more graphic material. So you go around scanning your evening, your night, even you don't sleep at night, you scan and find more and more and more of this material to get a high. All right? Then step 4 will be desensitization. So you have got so much of this porn material that it doesn't give you any more kick anymore. There's no kick. You see all kind of porn. So this is where you go and you become numb. And then stage 5, you then act out sexually. And this is where a lot of them become insane, basically insane. For example, imagine they rape a baby. All right? There are people out there, these predators that are doing all that. There are people who are doing all this evil thing because of starting with the addiction to porn. So according what parents can do, parents need to have a relationship with their children and promote open and honest communication. So this is where we have to help our children to navigate this 21st century of trial and tribulation, which is unlike the trial and tribulation of our forefathers or even ourselves. All right? For ourselves, for example, in my generation, born in the 50s and 60s, we don't have access to all this nonsensical material. We live a clean, good life. All right? But now, it is very difficult for our children, our grandchildren to have a clean, good life because everything is open. So-called, anything and everything goes. All right? This kind of laissez-faire society that couldn't care less about how we are going to become good human beings on this earth. So what we must do is, for our children and our friends, first be aware. Check the video games website, your children, where they're interacting, who are their friends. Number 2, limit screen time. This is very important because more and more of using handphone or devices make you stupid. There are many studies. I'm not joking. This is the studies. The brain literally change. Especially if you are addicted to porn, you destroy a lot of your brain circuitry. Role play. Show your children how to set personal boundaries between boys and girls, between friends and so on. So this is where the adab of Islam is being infused, so that we know what are the boundaries that we can go about in terms of our relationship with the opposite sex, our relationship with our family, our friends, and our relationship in society, and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to groom them step by step with positive values. We have our book, Shaping Excellent Character, Membentuk Pribadi Cemerlang. This is our handbook on Khalifah method, or how to actually shape our children. You can go back to that material. Number 4, you explain to our children as they grow up the consequences of becoming a pornographic addict. What are the consequences to their life, their family, and the situation which will affect them both this dunya and akhirah. Alright, so I'll show you a video of the 10 steps to stop porn addiction. Inshallah, from there we can get some ideas so that you, as we train you to become our life coach, to help yourself, your family, your mosque, your community, you'll be able to have some working knowledge of how to overcome pornographic addiction, inshallah.
I know from personal experience how frustrating it can be to keep trying to quit porn but failing over and over again and relapsing. And sometimes you just might be a little bit confused about the right steps to take. So today I'm going to share with you the 10 steps to overcome your porn addiction. And just to make it clear, these are the only 10 steps that you can take. And if you're missing one of these, then your struggle is just going to be much harder. The first is get rid of all material related to pornography. This involves destroying all physical and online pornography. Throw away any magazines, DVDs, channel subscriptions, video store memberships. Everything has to go. If you have devices which you use to enhance your masturbation experience when you watch porn, these have to go as well. Leave nothing behind. Next, install filtering and accountability software on your device. Filtering software is a tool to help you avoid websites that could trigger a relapse. Sometimes you're online to simply buy something on Amazon. Next thing you know, you're reading the news, you see a pop-up and something goes off in your head, and before you know it, you've forgotten that you came online to do one thing, which was buy something on Amazon. So filters will not allow you to access those websites which could ruin your day and cause you to relapse. Accountability software is similar, but one major difference is that accountability software can be set up to notify your accountability partner of when you're visiting a pornography-related site. Some accountability software even notifies your accountability partner when you try to bypass or uninstall it. Third, avoid being online in private. At work, or if you live in a place with multiple people, make sure your computer screen is facing a general area where people pass by often. This reduces the probability of you watching pornography. If you're always watching porn in your room, take your device to a public area. You do your work in cafes and libraries. When you return home, put your device away. 4. Delete all files related to pornography and sex on your device and have someone with you while you're doing this. So find all those files that you've downloaded that are pornography related and delete them. It helps to have a friend or accountability partner with you that knows of your problem. Have them make sure that you're not hiding anything related to pornography. This includes explicit pictures and videos of people whom you've maybe dated in the past or had sex with, movies, animation, digital literature. Everything of an explicit nature has to be deleted. Again, you need accountability with this. Have a trusted person scan your device for any explicit material and give them permission to delete it after you've cleaned everything out. Fifth is join a support group. Beating pornography addiction is not something that you can go at alone. It really helps to be part of a community which understands your problem and which has other people going through the same struggle. When you realize that you have people that you can speak to, people who can guide you in your journey, and people who can inspire you, you're going to feel much better about this process. Look, most large towns and cities have support groups like Sex Addicts Anonymous and Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. There are also men and women's groups which address pornography addiction. If you live far from an area which has a support group, there are also online recovery groups which meet periodically. 6, get an accountability partner. An accountability partner is someone who keeps you accountable to the behaviors and boundaries that you have set up in your life in order to help you quit porn. This person reminds you of when you might be taking a risk that would lead back to pornography, and is also someone who you reach out to when you experience very strong urges that could end in a slip. Your accountability partner should be supportive. They could be someone who is going through the same issue as you are, and perhaps they're actively trying to quit. Your accountability partner shouldn't be someone who doesn't take porn addiction seriously, or someone who doesn't think it's a big deal. They also should not be a romantic partner. And the reason why is, despite their good intentions, they are emotionally involved with you. Sooner or later, your behavior is going to affect them negatively. 7, identify risky behaviors and draw boundaries. So take some time to find out which behaviors that you engage in that lead to porn addiction or that lead to a relapse. For instance, being home alone might be a trigger for watching pornography. Every time you realize that your family is out or your roommate is out, you immediately stop what you're doing and you go online to look for pornography. A boundary for this would be to get offline whenever you're home alone, or just leave your home and move to a public place to use your device. For some people, drinking alcohol or using drugs is the sort of behavior that causes you to watch pornography. Stress, loneliness, anger, seeing women dressed in a certain way at the gym, whatever it is for you, identify that risky behavior, create a boundary for it, and inform your accountability partner. 8. Set up reminders of people who you care about, and dedicate your recovery to somebody. What I mean by this is, if you're in a relationship, it helps to remember that you are with someone. Dedicate your recovery from porn addiction to someone that you care about, someone whom you want to be your best self for, your spouse, your children. When you're working or in areas where you frequently watch porn, put up a picture of this person to remind yourself that this isn't just about you, and that every time you slip or relapse, you're not being the person who they think you are. 9. Cancel all recurring payments to apps or places that you act out. So if you have membership to a porn site or a dating site or an app, get rid of it. Cancel it. If you can't, cancel your credit card and get a replacement card. The last thing you need is to be doing so well in your recovery, then the reminder for your monthly subscription to some porn site shows up and messes you up. And this also includes physical places that you get porn from, like video stores. Next is get a therapist, counselor, or coach. Work with a professional who has experience and training in treating porn and sex addiction. This is important because not every mental health professional has training in this area. Many who don't have training can end up encouraging your behavior because they are using outdated or ineffective models of treatment. Ask them how many clients they've worked with that have this problem, and ask for their qualifications related to treating porn or sexual addiction. There's no shame in working with a counselor or a coach. What happens is that you gain access to a person who can move obstacles out of your way, a person who could possibly diagnose some of your issues accurately and let you know if there is some other underlying issue. The answer to everything is not just in books and not on YouTube either. Sometimes you have to sit down face to face with a competent professional who can help you get to the root of your problem. In the description below, I'm going to leave you some links to the best tools that can help you with all 10 of these steps. Make sure you check them out. And guys, subscribe to our channel for updates. We release the best videos on overcoming pornography and sexual addiction. So join the community.